2022 regular business meeting of Board of School Trustees held in public with a start time this evening of 6 o'clock. If we may all rise, we're going to ask Mr. Angel to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Thank you, Mr. Angel. We have Mr. Hoffman joining us via Zoom this evening, and we have approved in the past that he is allowed to participate with vote throughout the meeting, so we'll make sure we can, as we move forward, we can hear him clearly if necessary. But to begin with, we got item 2, patrons' comments. We do have a patron registered to speak this evening, and Ms. Gold, I'm going to go through, a while back, we started just reading the rules ahead of time when we had a little bit more participation to make sure that everybody understood the proper guidelines. So the board will hear patrons, the legal residents in Center Township or Winfield, wishing to comment on educational issues at the regular business meeting of the Board of School Trustees held in public. Patrons must sign the sheet that was provided in the back of the room prior to start a meeting. When their names are called to address the board, they will move to the podium in front of the room. Please state your name, spelling for record-keeping purposes, addresses, and topic that will be addressed. If patrons have prepared written statements on the topic, they may present them at this time. A limit of 3 minutes is allowed per speaker, so Mr. Angel will be take care of our clock for us. He'll give you probably a warning at 30 seconds. The portion of the meeting during which the participation of the public is invited shall be limited to 20 minutes unless extended by a vote of the board. Speakers are to refrain from speaking on personnel issues and student issues, the educational issues only. Thank you. So, Lisa Gold.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Lisa Gold, Lisagold, 2511 West Honored 36th Court. I'm a pediatrician in Crown Point now for 26 years. I had both my sons attend Crown Point schools from kindergarten through graduation. I'm the pediatrician for thousands of Crown Point students over these many years. So I come to you wearing 3 hats: resident of Crown Point, mother of 2 alumni, and a community health professional. I am speaking about the safety of our children in our schools. With the press release regarding Mr. Degenhardt, a teacher for over 25 years at Crown Point High School, being charged with 2 felony counts of child seduction, social media exploded with comments, please know that I'm not asking the board or the superintendent to comment regarding the details of that situation. However, reading the many comments was disturbing and revealing. It appears possible
Ms. Gold, can you pause for 1 second, please?
Yes.
I just want to, we need to be very careful that we're not crossing the grounds. I know you're speaking on safety, so as you move forward, please be cautious with your comments that we stick to safety and don't touch on personnel.
Okay.
Thank you.
But I do want people to understand the topic of ESM, that is Educator Sexual Misconduct. We don't have to state it's particular to said individual, but I can just say overall, I would like to speak on that and safety. What happens is that relationships can occur because adolescents have a diminished ability to appraise the risks associated with behaviors, have difficulty regulating emotions, and do not reach a level of competency in behavioral decision-making until their early 20s. We are allowing a culture where students witness things, yet they do not feel their concern will be addressed, or that they see something and not understand the moral wrong of this type of relationship, or perhaps they do not see that this is child abuse. You potentially have staff that are aware of ESM that are not speaking up. So I suggest 2 actions for the board to consider. 1, look at your policies and provide more detailed direction to school employees regarding reporting or whistleblowing of employees abusing the power that they have over children and breaking federal laws. You use the term school safety awareness, see something, say something. The same should apply for employees seeing another employee having inappropriate relationship with a student. This applying to all staff of the school system, custodial and support staff, even graduation guidance staff. Employees need to understand if they feel the teacher-employee is having inappropriate relationships with the student, they need to report it. Educate your staff regarding ESM, make it 100% no tolerance. Place education about ESM in your curriculum, support the student body to acknowledge the need to support suspicious behavior or relationships. The students know there's a tip line at the website, but do they really know about it? Do they have the belief that the tip will be heard or investigated? It appears Mr. Degenhardt was able to remain, sorry, I apologize. It appears that there was situations that potentially could have been prevented. Create a policy where a student can give statement and concern or witness of a school employee teacher having inappropriate relationship. One last thing I would like to say, Dr. Terrell, you said at the April 25th meeting, safety is always the top of our concern. Please show your commitment to this statement with action. Do something now so that this does not happen again. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gold. We're going to move forward to the consent agenda. Dr. Terrell?
For your consideration this evening, we are bringing forward our consent agenda, which includes the minutes from our previous meetings, a reoccurring grant for the Indiana Literacy Early Intervention, and then also a reoccurring grant from the Indiana Department of Ed for our High Ability Grant. Also 3.4 is our personnel agenda, and then 3.5 is our voucher registered checks as listed in your documents for this evening.
For the consent agenda as presented by Dr. Terrell, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Angel and second by Mr. Smith. Do we have any questions or comments for Dr. Terrell? Tom, any questions or comments for Dr. Terrell?
None for me, thank you.
Oh, that was very clear, just so you know. Perfect. If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
I heard you, Tom. Opposed? The motion carries 4-0.
Before we go on, we'd like to welcome Brett Munden, the principal at Lake Street Elementary. Brett, if you come up to the microphone, if you would. Sure. Any comments you'd like to make to the board or questions you guys might have of him? And if not, why don't you start while they're thinking of something to ask by introducing your family who is here with you this evening.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, this is my wife, Lindsay Munden. This is Drew Munden, Gavin, Vaughn, and Piper.
Very good.
And as far as something to say, I just want to thank the board and thank Dr. Terrell and all of the present central office staff for having the faith in me to do this job. This really is my dream job. I came to Crown Point last year and was welcomed and embraced by everybody here and supported throughout the year while I worked at Timothy Ball. And fortunately, this position opened up, and I couldn't be happier. So thank you again for having faith in me to do the job, and I can't wait to get started.
Well, we're glad to have you, and welcome to you and your family, to the Crown Point family, on an official title of principal there at Lake Street.
Thank you.
Just want to say welcome to the family and to yourself. Congratulations on your hire, and thanks for choosing Crown Point. I've had 4 children go through Lake Street, so my last one just finished. I just missed you, but I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do there and how you can improve that school. So thanks.
Thank you.
With two more going through there now, Brian, we'll be sure to try to give them a hard time for it. But, no, it's a pleasure to meet you. We actually got to speak, not at the breakfast, but what was the occasion a couple weeks ago?
The State of the Schools, I believe.
State of School, yes, which is a nice morning for a first one. And you also have a little bit of extra pressure, speaking of the first. So since we started with the assistant principals, this will be the first time that assistant principal is moving into a leadership of the building as a principal position. So hopefully that, you got the pressure on you for that to pave the road for the future of that transition. But thank you very much for joining our team. Pleasure to meet your family. And good luck this year.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And please don't feel like you all need to stay. If you want to go grab dinner, we understand.
The oldest looks like he'd like to stay for the whole meeting. Just getting a good read on it, but no, you guys,
We might go ahead and everyone's quiet. So.
Oh,
Hey,
Mr. Hoffman?
Yeah, one more thing.
Just tell him that I'll stop by and introduce myself in the next week or so.
Perfect.
Sounds good, thank you.
Good deal. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you guys for coming
Thanks,
out. Have a good night.
Let us know where you decide to eat.
One second. We have paused a couple times in the past. I just want to I do want to pause for a moment. Given some situations that have taken place recently, and everybody's seen the situation in the media, from the board, and I'm not gonna lie, I have something written that I'm gonna read from. I do just want to address that situation by saying that from the board, we are deeply disappointed and very concerned regarding the charges against Mr. Dagenhart. The well-being and the safety of our children is a serious matter. The district is committed to assisting with the ongoing investigation, but we are unable to share any additional information. This is understandably frustrating for parents. However, it is important the investigation proceeds with integrity and the confidentiality required by law. Our priority is providing a safe learning environment for all of our students. We know you share that priority and hope you remain in contact regarding any additional concerns you may have. So that I kicked around the idea and felt it very appropriate to say that at this time. So thank you. We move forward to the action items. We have 4.1, policy revisions and additions. It's the second reading and adoption. Mr. Akiwa.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Board members, as we shared at the last boarding with our first reading, we are looking to update one particular policy, 9150, to provide more specific language as it relates to the process for allowing visitors in our school buildings. So this evening, we are asking that the board adopt this so we can officially update policy 9150.
Thank you, Mr. Akiwa. You heard recommendation to approve to waive the second reading and adopt policy 9150. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Any questions or comments for Mr. Akiwa? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Tom Hoffman votes aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. At 4.2, back to Mr. Akiwa for the student handbook revisions and additions.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank our building level leaders for having much dialogue in this particular area for updating our handbooks. As stated, there's quite a few updates regarding directory information, spelling, descriptions, terms that bring us to the current year to make all of our handbooks up to date in regard to language. We've outlined specific areas of focus though for some of the changes for each of our levels there for you to see. The high school, the mission, the vision, 6C's definition, tardy policy, smartwatches were added into some of our technology language, and courses were updated. Middle schools also added smartwatches into their technology language. There was some grading period and semester language that was updated, and some vaping education that was added into our handbook as well at the middle school level. Elementary schools, some of the changes we implemented there would be attendance, dress and grooming, homework, and makeup work. And finally, at our Bulldog Buddies, updated some dates and allergy information there. So we wanted to present the handbooks to you this evening so we can get them updated for the 2022-2023 school year. We are recommending that you approve the updated handbooks across the board for us here at the Crown Point Community School Corporation.
You've heard recommendation to approve to waive the reading of the handbooks and approve handbooks with suggested additions and adjustments. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved with the approval of the waiving of the reading?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Angel and second by Mr. Hoffman. Any questions or comments from Mr. Handbook on the handbooks? If not, all those in favor signify. Did I say Mr. Hoffman? I said Mr. Akiwa.
No,
Okay, Mr. Akiwa. If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Tom Hoffman votes aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Mr. Akiwa.
And to all that were involved as well, so.
Yeah, I
thank you.
mean, I really would like to pass along thanks to all of our staff members that really put in some time and a collaborative effort to get these things updated, so, correct.
Superintendent discussion groups. Do we have any information to relay or discuss? Anything? Tom, you hear anything new?
Nothing really new to report from either Crown Point or Winfield RDCs.
If not, let's move to our Director of Elementary Education, Mr. Mears.
Thank you, Mr. President and board members. I would just like to take this opportunity as we were able to welcome Brett Munden as principal of Lake Street. We will also be welcoming Ashley Bach as assistant principal at Timothy Ball, and I would like to thank all who have participated in a very rigorous interviewing season, and it is great to see that we continue to get the best of the best, and really everybody is dedicated to seeing the success of our students be a top priority, aligning our elementary schools, and I believe that the newest leaders coming on board will help really move our district in the direction that we want to go. So I thank everybody for their participation.
Director of Exceptional Education, Ms. Paskis.
Good evening, President Warney, members of the board. Last week, we had 4 out of 5 days of really great training for, the first 2 days was programming for students with emotional disabilities. We had Dr. Rick Van Acker, who's a national expert on working with students with emotional and behavioral disabilities, work with us, our school teams on Monday and Tuesday, and then on Wednesday and Thursday, we worked with Dr. Leanne Young on our lead inclusion project with our school teams. We are still looking to fill 1 teaching spot in the exceptional ed department, and we have several openings for paraprofessionals. If you happen to know anyone looking for a part-time job, please send them our way.
Thank you, Ms. Paskis. And Chief Academic Officer, Mr. Hardman.
Thank you, Mr. Warney, members of the board. Before we meet again in August, we will be in school almost 2.5 weeks. August 10th is that first day that our children will be coming back to school. At this time of year, things really start preparing for their arrival, to be able to have as smooth of an entrance into school as possible, and there's a lot of things that go into that from all the departments. From curriculum instruction, I know that Sabrina and Heather and Mark and I are working to make sure everything is in place as far as materials, resources, professional development, so that we're ready to embrace the students, being able to embrace students by any training that comes forth from our teachers, and with those, as Mrs. Paskis has said, continue now and will continue up until the start of school. Bringing on our new staff, and maybe Artie will comment on that. We're in a pretty intense period of time over the next 2 weeks, acclimating staff so that they can be ready to come receive students and engage and help our students to adapt. I think we want to promote an environment for our families, knowing that we're ready. And there's no wasted time, but there is a lot of work that takes place between now and the beginning of school for that kind of a start to occur, which has been a tradition here in Crown Point School. So we're excited about that. We're looking forward to the arrival, looking forward to seeing the buses roll, parents dropping off the kids, being out at the buildings, and seeing the 2022-23 school year begin. Just know that there's a lot of things that are happening right now in preparing for that to occur. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hardman. And Chief Human Resource Officer, Mr. Akiwa.
Thank you, Mr. President, board members. Several things I just want to mention here briefly. First is, yes, we had our new teacher academy kicking off this morning. Some of you were present. Thanks so much. We had a great breakfast and just an initial session today to review our schedule that will take us through this week and all the way into next Thursday with different topics. I think we've got a great group of individuals that have joined our school community to help, provide an amazing educational experience for our students and families. I'd like to especially thank, though, there are people that are going to be taking place in this 2-week experience that are from within our schools. There are people in this room and others that are dedicating their time to host and speak and share and engage with our new staff members on a number of topics. So for all of you that are participating in and sharing your wonderful knowledge with our new staff members, I'm just going to thank you in advance for stepping up for those great leadership roles. And lastly, I spoke this morning at our breakfast about the big four, as I call them, and that would be transportation, food service, technology, and buildings and grounds. And I think many times it goes overlooked at how much incredible hard work is taking place all summer long by all of these individuals to get ourselves ready and support a great school year, not just to start it off, but to sustain it through those 184 school days and beyond. So to our food service staff, to our transportation staff members and drivers that are getting ready for routes out there right now, to our buildings and grounds folks and all of our custodial staff and all of our tech staff, thank you for all the hard work that you've done as we prepare to open up the 22-23 school year. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Kiwa. And great job hosting that breakfast this morning. We all sat at the table and said, wow, you could have a whole nother career in game show host, whatever you say.
Thank you.
How about Mr. Reese from the business office?
The business office has nothing this evening.
I'll move over to Dr. Terrell, Superintendent of Schools.
Thank you, Mr. Akiwa. Don't get any ideas in the near future. I want to start off by thanking those in our community who attended our State of the Schools address. Had a great event and had the opportunity to speak to many of our local leaders and those who are very interested in our schools, and we appreciate them being there. Second one, already mentioned our new teacher academy that kicked off today. We want to welcome all of our new teachers here to Crown Point Schools. I want to thank those that are involved in the process of getting those teachers to this point. Many principals, many of our secretaries and executive assistants, and the amount of time that they spend processing and getting those people ready as they go through this 2-week onboarding program. And then the last one I'd like to mention is our administrative team. Just want to thank them for the work they've done over the summer. We just finished our summer leadership series today. We've been doing several book studies with different groups, and it's just amazing to see the creativity of our administrative team and how they look at things and bring things to each other, continuing to always challenge each other. Also, we had our admin retreat a couple of weeks ago where we had 2 full days and then finished on the third day with the State of the Schools address. I want to thank cabinet members here and our directors of support services, as already mentioned, the big four, for the amount of work that they put into those 2 days. Had the many comments from new administrators to our district, but also those who had been here for a long time. Just what a great opportunity that is to prepare them and get information to them. So we continue to thank them for the work that they do all summer long. Had someone ask, so over summer you guys just kind of relax and chill? No, actually it's some of the most intense work that we do, and we appreciate all of our cabinet members here and our directors of support services for leading our administrative team and preparing them for the school year.
Thank you, Dr. Terrell. How about other business of the Board of School Trustees? Is there anything floating around that we'd like to discuss, comment on?
Are we final stages of working out the arrangement with the city for the extension of the Bulldog Park/Wheeler concession stand?
Yes, so we're still in the process of trying to iron out the building plans of that facility and getting all of that finalized. Hopefully we'll be able by next board meeting to come to you and say we're ready to move forward with it.
Thank you.
Only thing I want to say is thank you for the statement tonight, David, regarding the incident. And Dr. Gold, thank you for coming and speaking on that issue regarding policies and how we can revisit things to make them improved. So I'd be interested in speaking with you for a few minutes after the meeting tonight if you have a few minutes to stay around.
My only other suggestion possibly would be at some point in time, if we could get Mrs. Paskus and her staff to maybe put a 10-minute presentation together or less, just with maybe the initials of the different types of students we deal with, because we hear the referral to emotional, speech, all that, and we kind of get a general idea, but I think it would just be, as we're continuing to improve that department, maybe give the board a little crash course, just so we understand the next time something's brought up about what specific individuals we're dealing with. So, once again, it doesn't have to be, you're teaching a few older gentlemen here, at least I'll speak for myself, so it could be as basic as possible, just to give us an idea of, the vocabulary used to describe our students with disabilities.
Great idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Mr. Hoffman, like to discuss any other business this evening?
I have nothing.
Okay, well, let's move forward to the board statements of appreciation and recognition. Mr. Smith, anything?
I'm just regurgitating what Dr. Terrell said. I thought the State of the Schools address was phenomenal. I had an opportunity to go, so first one, got it kicked off and went really well. It was impressive. So thanks for all the people who worked hard on that. I think we had another issue come out of the magazine, which I was just blown away. So Brooke and her staff, I thought it was phenomenal and just so helpful to get that information out there into the public, and really pleased with that and how professional it looks. It looks great. So. And then the last thing, I was speaking to Mr. Mulaski and Dion Katsouris of Skillman, and everywhere you go, there's building and construction, and it's moving. So, but I'm glad to hear that the progress is on schedule and they think everything's going well. So I know they have a lot of balls in the air juggling, but it's exciting to see all the different construction. So I just want to commend all those people on the ground doing that work during the summer.
And if I might jump in here, so I'm trying to look at the name of the award. We just received a national award for that publication as well. So Brooke is unable to be here with us this evening, but she's done a great job with that and really upped the game here for Crown Point Schools, and I'm not finding it
I think she did share it with us as a group if you're looking through for it.
Yeah,
but,
that's where I'm trying to find it right
Yeah,
now.
it was amazing to see the progress, and she was rightfully proud of the work from the publication she had showed us from a few years back to what we're working with now.
So it is the Publications Excellence Award from the National School Public Relations Association. INSPRA is the name of it. And I might also mention, since Brooke's not here and we're throwing compliments her direction, she has just been named the president of the Indiana chapter of that for this coming school year. So has jumped right in and is making an impact even throughout our state as well.
Mr. Angel?
Nothing direct, but since Mr. Smith brought it up with that publication and Dr. Terrell, for those of you that are watching online and those in the audience, there is some great information in there, including the hot topic in our community, which is redistricting after all of these projects get complete. So it explains the basics behind decisions being made. Obviously, nothing's been made to date, and it explains the timeline that we'll be looking at as that moves forward. But in case people missed that, and I did the first time through, so when I saw it on the front cover, never looked at it, and it does give a very good description of how that process works. So
Great.
That's all I have this evening.
See, for myself, I just want to kind of tag along to Dr. Tully said in the summertime, the work that's done, and I don't think that we were quite aware of how much work is being done until you sit down and have a 5-minute conversation with someone as what's been going on. And I think other team building experiences like the bowling night, I wasn't able to go. We were out in Michigan at the time, but the feedback from it was excellent. It sounded like people had a good time to bring their families out, and those little things along the way, like the book series you're doing. I'm just like, it's happy to hear it. It seems like really productive team building experiences, and I said nothing specific, as Mr. Angel said, for a statement of appreciation, recognition this evening. But if anybody could have been at the breakfast this morning, and everyone kind of came up and gave a few words, but the one thing I personally took away from it and was most proud of the the corporation was when Dr. Terrell just stood up there and spoke from his heart wishing like all 8,000 plus of the corporation could have heard him saying that the number one focus are these relationships with your children, with the kids, and working on those relationships within the classroom, to move forward with what comes later. And, the way you said it was very eloquent, and I hope that everybody was really listening during that part, because I think that getting to know our other board members, that's what's very important to us as well, and we think that we've seen success in other aspects of life through what you were drilling home to. It's like, form that relationship, don't worry about this, that, or the other, that'll come along the way. So thank you for those words you had. Like I said, those meant a lot to me to hear to the new teachers and everybody present, so. Mr. Hoffman, I didn't mean to skip over you, but do you have any statements of appreciation or recognition this evening?
I do not.
Okay. Any last call for?
Just one other thing,
thoughts?
Artie, are we going to hit over 9,000 students this year then in the district? Close? I know, I don't need to hold you a number, but I would think we're approaching it, and
Oh, yeah.
it would be the first time,
We're
correct?
approaching it, yeah.
Okay. We'll maybe get a follow-up then. When will, what's the term called?
Like,
The count?
September.
ADM count, thank you.
Yeah.
When's that, September? Okay,
This will be into September.
all right. So the October meeting, we can probably announce that
There
we
you go.
officially hit 9,000 students.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
And if you add in all of our preschool students who don't count in the ADM number, we're right there last year, so, yeah.
Okay. Last thoughts? Anybody? If not, look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Moved by Mr. Angel, second by Mr. Smith. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Hey.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.